There's no reason for that. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Avondale and Secrets of the Fall. We're talking about...
Hello.
Hello. Hello. I mean, I wish you guys were actually privy to the conversation behind the scenes, because it is so much more blue than anything we present here.
It's so blue.
It's so blue. It's very blue.
It's so blue you can chew it.
Apple with the decorum.
Shout out, yo, sponsor us. Blue Chew, sponsor us. For a good time, call Avondale.
For a good time, it's Santori time.
Oh,
So I'm gonna start doing like go into bathrooms and write like twitch.tv/Evandale.
I would love to.
There you go.
I would love
that's
to.
I have not like now that I think of it, I've never seen a Twitch stream like shared in one, but like, you know what? Why not?
I would
Also,
love that.
be sure to also write Seekers of the Fall 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Oh yeah.
for a good time.
I would not say that. It's not Eastern Standard Time. It's Eastern Daylight Time right now.
It is.
Oh my
It is
God.
EST. 8:30 EST.
Just put ET or Eastern time.
Old home. Okay, yes.
Anyway, welcome back to Secrets of the Fall.
Are you writing this down?
Jeez.
Write that down.
we need
got it all.
campaign. We seriously need like some campaign notes. How's everyone doing?
We have. I'm putting this in the campaign notes.
Awesome.
You know, Steve, I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking.
You're very welcome, Josh. I'm so happy that you. Thank you.
You're a very
So-
polite person,
I'm trying to be.
and you've got good facial hair.
Thank you. It took me years.
I really appreciate you.
I
Would you say
appreciate
that
you.
you
buddy.
grew it yourself?
I did grow it myself, and it required a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna be playing Pathfinder 2E tonight. Believe it or not, it's a thing.
Are we gonna have season 1, episode 8 notes in the Goblin's notebook?
I don't know what you're referring to.
The missing the.
I think you need
Where
to
we-
refresh that screen.
Yeah, it's up there.
Pew pew pew.
In like the last 12 seconds.
I don't know what you're referring to.
So, just softening the blow before he kills you all. Yeah, Azra, we need to talk, because you've been sneaking into my notes, and I see that now. But that's okay.
Wow.
No, it's no worries at all. Much. So anyway, welcome back. The party last left off in a very favorable spot. Essentially, you ended up achieving your very first huge investigation. You took care of the original meteorite, or at least found out about it, and you recovered some portions of it, which then led you to find the real crux of it all. So congratulations on that. What are you looking to achieve in your subsequent campaigns? What are your character's goals right now? Because you're about 800 miles away. No, you're about like 500 miles or so away from home base, and you're still stranded up in the north. What are your character's priorities right now?
Getting a new hand.
Yeah, you kind of lost that, didn't you?
I was about to say, I feel like favorable was an odd word to choose.
Yeah.
That was.
We're one limb down, and Tess has got like most of her guts spilled out of her body.
Yeah.
That's right.
Pretty sure if I
Her
remember
insides were on her outside.
Yeah, it was kind of bad. It was really kind of bad. All right, so I'm gonna write this stuff down. So tell me what it is that your character goals are for moving forward.
Tess's big goal is, kind of the same as it always has been, and that is figure out what the ship with the red sails was or is. Is it, and now she's starting to think that it's connected to what they're currently doing.
Give me a sailing lore.
Shift. Oh, that's not bad. That is a total of 17 on sailing lore.
And give me a survival. Let's see where
That
you're
is
at.
a 5 on survival.
5. Alrighty. You are currently 380-ish miles to a nearby shore. The incident with the red sail, which occurred in your character's background, dumped you off somewhere near Mutvia, which is where you ended up washing up on shore. Mutvia is 1,200 miles away by sea, close to 1,350 miles by foot. So the likelihood of that, unless this is a global event, and you guys have seen meteorites streaking through the sky, there's a sense of possible disconnect there.
Perhaps, but
Exactly,
there
but
could be a legend.
exactly, there could be so much
story.
more to it. So I did want to give you those facts, and then you do with them as you wish. So red sails, and who else? Who are you going to hand it over to?
I'm gonna hand it over to Frenell.
Oh gosh, I was afraid you were going to say that. As
Gotcha.
For now, is on one hand fully like kicking herself as she's realizing in this moment that she loves like returning lost things, and she didn't look for Zora's hand to be able to return it to her. Kind of disappointed in that. But going forward, I think that for now, I think wants to look for more information.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm wanting to look for particular like groups that like might have other information, or if there's like a particular location for like, you know, a library or like, you know, some sort of underground cult or something, like a different cult or something. But definitely trying to figure out more information. One thing I'm curious about is, which of course we'll see as time goes on, is sort of if we know where the other meteors are at, to see if it kind of...
Is that the information that you're seeking, where the other meteorites landed?
I think like
impacted?
the first information that I would seek is like, what are the other, where are the other meteors? Where did they crash? Because I'm wondering if there are other types of cult behavior, similar to what we've seen in the north, but in opposing cults. So
Okay.
is everyone going to claim Chrysera or not?
Sure. Alrighty. And who do you want to pass it to?
Let's pass it over to Aldred.
Oh, okay. I was still getting prepared in my head, but that's fine.
We were talking about blue and much more important stuff, apparently. So.
Yeah.
I can completely understand.
Choose.
So obviously a lot of my goals coincide with Tess, with the red sails and what's going on there. I'm also really concerned with the things that are happening in the world right now, and the possibility of the survival of our party. Because I feel like at this point, after every conflict, I'm watching these people that I'm getting to know almost die every time. So that's a big concern for Aldred, for me right now.
Party safety. Okay. Mm-hmm. What do you plan on doing about that?
Preparation.
Okay, so prep. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
More prep. Never have too much prep.
Gotcha. So body bubble wrap bags for everyone.
Yep.
I thought that was funny. All right, who do you want to pass it over to?
I laughed. I was muted.
Where do you? I appreciate you. Thank you. honey.
And on that, I'll pass it to Zora.
Okay. Short-term goal, get a new hand. Long-term goal, turn that hand into a claw and become a villain.
I'm writing this down. I was taking shorthand and I'm like, Zora becomes villain. Wait.
No, and Tess will be the cat on her lap, the evil minion cat. No, I think Zora's long-term goal hasn't changed. She without diving too much into like unraveling backstory, she has unfinished business with her old crew.
Okay.
So that is her long-term goal. But
Old crew.
yes.
Okay, to return to the old. So you want to discover more information about your old crew, or do you have a specific destination in mind?
She's been passively on the lookout for indicators that the old crew has been around, because they are also treasure seekers, so they could probably be interested in what they're like on parallel paths.
Sure.
So she just kind of keeps an eye out to hear about them, not to return to them, but for more nefarious means.
Okay, cool. Who do you want to pass it to?
Alvin.
Hey, thanks. Alvin has had three main thoughts bouncing around in his head. And the first happened when that vial broke in his pocket last adventure.
Yeah.
And the ooze escaped, and he watched it reconvene with its whatever swirling mass it decided to reconvene with. Alvin is thinking about becoming a pacifist. This is all a lot. And he's really out of his element. And
I'm looking forward to see how that comes out in the game. But is there a particular goal or something where you need to go now to be able to achieve that?
He wants to go back to the lab so that he can deal with some of these thoughts and feelings in the way that he knows how.
Okay.
And barring that, he would like to have some real heart-to-hearts with the rest of the crew, with the rest of his party, just to sort of touch base and see where everyone's at emotionally. He really does not like what happened during the last fight. It was disorganized, it was scary, and there was people lost body parts. And I mean, people can grow back body parts, so that's okay. But also they lost them in the first place.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. That's really nice. I like that.
Yeah, no, Alvin has a rich internal world that he doesn't talk about.
Hopefully we get to see that one day. That'd be amazing.
Oh yeah, it's in there. It's definitely in there.
Okay, that's really cool. So you are in Rin's home village still, or at least you're coming back. You made the journey a day and a half away from the lake that ended up taking Zora's hand and, of course, took Thessalia's life. Luckily, there was healing abound, and Thessalia ended up coming back in a grievous state, with some first aid being applied and Alvin doing what he can. You guys ended up making it back to the village. As we described at the end of last session, a month-long, they haven't been able to fish for the past month, and thanks to you, the waters in the nearby area have now cleared up. The pall of doom that hangs over the village, and really the entire region, was now lifted, and even then, some of the mists that's like surrounded the path around you on the way back had lifted as well. You can see Svars. He is meandering about. The markets are now closing up. Their time has come, and the winter festival, that is, and they are now moving on. The village is coming back to where it needs to be, which is some sense of normalcy. And word begins to travel that you six are the ones who are responsible for it. With pride, Rin had collected some money and begins to share it with everyone. And that is a hefty price of 60 gold per person for this. So that's definitely a boon for everyone. The village also is supplying you with plenty of dried fish for your journey. And Rin has secured a river boat that goes down the river and will potentially take us home. But all of that is going to be discussed while you are still in the village and life is starting to return to normal. What are you guys doing? I turn the world over to you.
Quick mechanical question. So we got one long rest on the way back to town.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
That's good.
I'm in a bad way.
Were we able to save some of Tess's insides in jars? Maybe, Alvin, do you have jars of Tess's insides so we can put them back inside?
No.
Oh, man.
Zora, I'm fine. This is not the first time that I've been opened up in a non-surgical fashion.
I wish.
I'll be fine.
At least we don't need ice. There's ice everywhere, am I right? And as I go like this, you see like no, like one knob, like one hand.
I lost a bit of blood, so I couldn't quite see everything. But did we get Zora's hand? Perhaps
It's
no.
it's still down there somewhere.
Yes.
Oh, so it's fish food.
That
Alright,
they,
well.
quite literally, it was eaten.
Well,
I'm so
I'm sure
sorry I
the
didn't
Adai-
grab it.
You
Adai will
wouldn't have.
take good care of it.
It's okay. I mean,
We'll find you a new one. One that
I'll
doesn't belong to anyone else.
that. Okay, I don't object to that. I don't know how you would take somebody else. I don't want to know. I'd be fine with just a hook. That seemed pretty cool.
I do have hooks.
I will. That's a cool idea. It makes me a little bit less sad. Traps will be interesting. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Hopefully, I'm still very good at them.
Hooks are very versatile.
Is there any way we could go to one of those shoe salesmen in town and get Zora some drawstring boots that she can tighten with one hand? Because Alvin ain't feeling so good about this. He wants to spend a little bit of money on maybe softening the blow of losing a limb.
Well, it wasn't your fault. How about this? I like my boots, and I knock on them, and they kind of clank a little bit because they're steel-toed. If you would like, if I need help, I'll ask you to help me tie them. Would that be okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm okay
that
with
would
that.
be okay. I'm wondering. Oh God, I still really want to buy those goggles too.
Well, we have enough now, right? How much were they?
We're 100.
Can I take out a loan of 10 gold from each of you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hot damn, I'm getting new goggles, guys. Yes. And I march in there.
Oh boy.
Like I am
Okay.
like
Frenell hands you her money before she's heard the story. She hands you the money before you even walk in. She's not going in there with you. She's gonna hang out
there are
outside.
books in there.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out another time.
Yeah.
I march in
here's your
there.
gold.
I am the coolest kid in school right now. I march in there. I put the money down on the counter, and I go, "Can I see those goggles one more time? Like I'm buying a freaking Stratocaster."
She
And-
she looks at you, and you're back. Yes,
I'm back.
the goggles. You need to borrow them again, perhaps to.
No, I'll be looking to purchase this time.
She pauses where she's standing. Her eyes go a little bit wider. Oh. They cost 110 gold.
110, all there.
Is there anything else that you would like to look at, sir?
Oh, myself in the mirror, wearing those goggles constantly.
She reaches up.
God, I look good.
She walks over. She reaches up to the shelf and hands them over to you. That will be one. Thessalia's tail is right in front of Thessalia's face.
That's what I want to.
I just saw that. I was like, Dan, go for the cosplay.
That's my cat Milo. He loves the microphone because he loves rubbing up against it and walking in front of me.
Of
when I'm
course,
at the computer.
That's what cats do. She hands you the goggles. That is 110 gold.
And to make sure I know what I'm buying, these are alchemical goggles, right?
Yes, they are the
Goggles
same.
of alchemy?
Yes, they are the same ones that you tried on in your experiment 4 or 5 days ago.
This is like being able to cast spells at a higher level. Oh, I love it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So you give her
I
one.
say I give her 110 gold.
Okay.
And I take one out of my pocket, just an extra gold, and I flip it to her and I go, that one's for you. And I walk out.
She looks and doesn't say anything, does not have the opportunity, and
Yep. I leave before she can point out that it's probably taboo to tip in this situation.
Oh my god. If there's not a wedding at the end of this campaign,
She's so confused. She doesn't even know how bad she wants me. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. I'll tell you.
Never let him see your next step.
Alvin, man of mystery. Gnome of mystery.
oh, fucking
He does have a fake beard.
And now a pair of goggles to go with it.
I suddenly want to play something from like never mind.
Oh shit. Oh god. Meanwhile,
Just
he
so
walks
that
out.
you all know what you did, you have doubled my effectiveness in every capacity, just about.
I heard the saxophone.
Did you hear that? I don't know if anybody else heard that.
Was that Careless Whisper? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, God. That's the sound that plays when the gold coin flips in the air.
Yeah, it's just this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But is she gonna have fortune or disfortune, or what's the opposite? in Pathfinder?
Fortune or misfortune?
Or misfortune?
She could have it, I know.
That's the question.
You know what? Hold on. Now I need to find out. Alvin shuts the door a little too hard. The front glass windows shatter, and you just see her like.
He keeps walking. Oh my god.
Ah, fuck. Alrighty. Yeah, go ahead. Take it.
Frenell sees Alpha come out, and the windows just shattered, just kind of like peers up. It just like
Can I
walks
help you?
away. She just.
That's
Oh my
that's
god.
the right move for now. Let's move along.
Best 10 gold pieces ever lent, I suppose. You look good, and I'm gonna follow everybody else.
I believe we owe Svars a story.
Oh, and he shall get a story. As soon as I put on these goggles.
Perhaps can somebody, I don't mean to be a nuisance, but can somebody perform a surgical procedure as he's telling the story, as we're telling the story, maybe at the same time?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I can help if you would like.
We'll probably.
If you have like a anesthetic tea, that would be sublime, because this is throbbing and feeling very weird.
She just taps the back of her hair. I got you.
Okay, let's go tell a story then. I just start going towards the tree.
Yeah.
If you need to not be here to be in a more comfortable position to have that looked at, that's okay, Zora.
But it'll make for a great story later. As far as might favor us even more.
I look at her stump hand using my new goggles. Oh yeah, that's severed clean off.
Thank you,
Yeah, it's
Alvin.
no longer there.
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't aware.
Yeah,
I mean,
appreciate
I'm
just switching
not
the
so good.
lenses.
I'm not so good at the medical side of things. I'm typically in your position, Zora, but a clean cut is optimal when it comes to surgeries.
I mean this with the greatest respect. I do trust a couple of pirates to sew me up in a jiff. So
I'm not a pirate. We're not pirates.
We've never been pirates.
No.
Oh, of course.
No. I don't like how you wink.
Frenell responds to
You
your
said
wink.
that. Very concerned and confused look over up at Aldred, like.
I think Zora thinks that every sailor is a pirate. There is no such thing as anything else. She doesn't understand.
Alvin is realizing he can't wink with goggles on.
Well,
We just see him tilt his head.
We should probably go before Sfars goes home, right?
yes.
Yes,
like,
let's.
Oh, I can see the mood rising. Colin.
Well, I'm gonna need some strips of leather for the hand, of course.
Frenell and I will get the story started, at least.
Bring the supplies, and then
Yes.
then we'll help you, Zora.
Okay, that sounds good. Alvin, if you promise not to break any more store doors, you can come with us if you would like.
I am completely out of money, guys. I
was just saying you can come along for the company. I didn't mean anything by it.
oh my
If you'd
god, I
like.
could use the company.
I like that's
Yes.
I like that's his motive for not smashing any more doors. Oh yeah, no, I don't have any more money to go shopping. Not yeah, maybe I should have.
Well, no, I mean, it's good logic. No money, can't go in a store.
Yeah, it fits. No, it works. It works. As far
Can't
as
break it if he can't buy it.
I'm actually very impressed by how hard you slammed that door for your little size. That is amazing.
Wait
Come
a minute,
on.
what?
What?
And Alvin looks around and sees the broken glass, and is like, realizes there's
and
someone on his
you look
shoulder,
back,
he's like,
and all you see in the distance is.
yeah, let's go to another store. That would be best. Yeah, let's move. Come on. Yeah.
Unless he's changed as far as his
New store,
outdoors
new
at the
store.
tree. So
we'll
I think-
we'll see you at the tree.
Yeah.
just maybe don't lean against the tree, just to be safe.
Yeah. Jeez.
As far as
Wow.
the older gentleman who has been known to tell stories and comes from the nearby nation. Well, either way, that's too much detail for this. He's back, and he looks over and he sees some of you approaching. Hey, hello. You look, and his eyes gaze over to Thessalia. He pauses and sits down, digs around in an old burlap sack, pulls out an apple. I'm going to enjoy this story.
I believe you will. As far as
Would you mind telling me what? Never mind. I will not tell you how to do your job.
Hess almost like struts like to front and center of Sfars and sits down.
Okay, while that's happening, and slowly some villagers will be coming around because they all understand that once Far sits down, he's going to tell a story. They will be a little bit surprised that it's going to be somebody else today. However, some of you are also doing other actions. Let's get those rolls out of the way, and then you guys can RP as the story goes on. Who is Aldred? You are creating a what?
I'm making Zora a hook hand.
Give me a craftings check.
Can I assist in that?
Oh boy.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, assist in that, please.
I am very good at crafting.
Oh,
Can I also assist in that if I'm able to use mercantile lore to get good supplies?
In this case, we're talking about the crafting rather than it's using the materials that you currently have, not necessarily talking about the materials, unless they come together as kind of a kit, in which case then I'd say you can do it with fortune. But crafting and aid in this case, let me just make sure. I believe what you need is, yeah. Alvin, you...
He is refusing to take the goggles off. I just want you to know it's not helping him, but he's refusing to take them off.
Very well. Alvin, have you ever put a hand back on someone or created a prosthetic?
Funny you should ask. Alvin actually did act as a medical assistant for quite a while after in Coltrek when I mean, that's neither here nor there. That's backstory. But
And not a single laboratory in the city of Kultrak has windows anymore.
Yeah. Well, that was unrelated. But thank you for that. He has never put a hand back on, but he has dressed wounds.
Aldred, can you explain why you're 3 when you needed a lot more than that? How that's going to impact what's happening here?
Well, I probably I can't find the right leather for fashioning the cup that goes over the actual stump. So I'm just, I guess, I'm struggling to get the materials to work well for me.
Okay, you spend a little bit of time working at it, and unfortunately, the materials are, as you said, they're not up to snuff. And with that, yeah, we're gonna turn over to Zora, who might be able to assist with the materials. So, Zora, let's. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to go to the shopkeeper that does not know the concept of layaway and see if he has any better.
So that market is in the process of packing up.
Are they?
That was too bad. Maybe he would be able to lend you a hand. Da-dum-bum.
Oh, you know what? And I pull Alvin's hat off his head. This would work very well. And I give it right back because that's really rude.
I was half expecting to see like a cone under there.
I think I have leather armor. So can I give a piece of my armor and take a little, like a point of AC off or something as like a...
You know what? Give me a crafting check. Let's find out.
Okay. Like I need less AC. No, that's a nat one. I completely...
We all have hero points.
You do?
Yeah, I'm gonna use a hero point. That was absolute bullshit.
Okay.
And I assume the answer is no, but do we still have the points if we had them left over last week?
No, hero
No,
points,
okay.
you always receive one in the beginning of the game, but anything that you earned is gone at the end of the game.
I meant from the chat stuff, because we held it over the 1 week because it happened at the end.
Yeah, and so much of that was used during the fight. It's done.
So
yeah,
it's all gone. Okay.
that is correct,
Should
yeah.
use more. I thought I could keep it. Sorry.
No, sorry.
11. Sorry.
You cut off a portion of your armor, and it does kind of a botched job. The hardness of your leather is going to decrease by a little bit, so for sake of like damage reduction in the future. However, you hand it over, and it's it's boiled and what have you. So that's gonna give Aldred a new shot, a new crack at crafting something hopefully better than a 3.
Let's try something better than that.
May I assist again?
Sure. Yep. But yeah, you guys roleplay that out. Then make the die rolls as a secondary priority. Let's have the roleplay.
I'm gonna use my hero point.
Okay.
So I really want to get this.
So we don't know what you rolled. You gotta say it.
I rolled
it
a
was,
19.
It was a 7, and now it's an 11.
Yeah, I rolled a
Aldred,
19. Alvin is trained in crafting, and I think he sees this hook, and he's like, if I sharpen the end, it's just gonna jab right in there, and that's gonna be painful. So
No. That's not what you do. That's not what you do.
We're not stabbing the hook.
What I really need to do is peen the end out, flatten it against the inside of this leather, and that way it's nice and supported, and she has full dexterity.
So it's a DC 20.
Oh yeah, we're gonna try it again because I was real close. Let's roll that hero point.
Wow, everyone's blowing those hero points. All right, let's see if you got it.
I'm not much good on a boat anyway.
22. Fuck yes.
There we fucking go. Hook hand achieved. Short-term girls, cha-ching. I got goggles, you got a hook hand, and we are ready to go on the town.
So, here's how aid, which is the reaction action that you're referring to. Aid, typically you can have like a DC 20 or so, and which can then be modified if the task is particularly difficult or easy. I'm going to say that this was medium, so I'm keeping it at a DC 20. The person who aided, if it's just a mere success, it grants a +1 to the person who was attempting it, which in this case would make Aldred's from an 11 to a 12.
So, if I may, I would say that if we're doing this in character, Alvin would simply take the materials away from Aldred and begin to craft on his own without any regard to what's socially appropriate.
Yeah, smaller, nimbler hands. That makes sense.
So while he said I'm rolling for aid, what he really meant is I know how to craft and you don't.
That's fair. And
Which checks out.
Zora,
Yes.
over the course of the discussion, by the end of it, I'll describe, Alvin will describe what you wind up with, but we're first going to have to get through the story. You all can roleplay that while the story goes on. Thessalia ends up sitting down in front of Svars, who has taken up a nice comfy position on his little stool and is almost finished with his apple and now is grabbing for another and handing it to you.
Oh, you're going to want to cross-stitch it.
Much,
On that seam right there, actually.
much appreciated, Svars. I hope you're comfortable, because this will take a minute.
No. By all means, you do what you need to. Everybody, this is those who've not been able to fish. They are the reason why we can now. Please, everybody you have the ear of everyone.
Good evening, all of you.
You see people. Good morning.
It's morning somewhere. I'll take it. Good morning, all of you. My name is Thessalia, or Tess. And our story starts in the cold northwest of here. A place called Orunde. I hope you've all heard of it.
There's a little bit of murmur when you say that word of Irunde, and they are very curious. But for this, can you give me a performance check?
Yes.
Are you sure you want the hook to be that short?
I'm gonna use my hero point.
Well, I'm saying, Frenell's also passing out tea and just sort of like trying to hype the crowd up a little bit for this.
Yeah, that are all kind of like interested
Yeah.
in this.
I'll say. So, if I'm like assisting in some way, I got a nat 20 on performance for a 26.
What are you rolling it for?
I'm like a part of the story, trying to build up
shit.
the crowd
You know what?
and sort of like
Aiding.
help. It is a joint performance here.
So we're gonna. All right.
Tess is speaking.
So that's gonna give you, Thessalia, a +1 to turn your.
14 into a 15.
There you go.
Even with a nat 20, it's only a +1.
Natural 20s and natural 1s, those kinds of things typically only work for like melee and saving throws and that kind of stuff for skill checks. Yeah, you can get a critical by hitting the DC in the aid action. It's typically like a 20. In this case, I can make it like an 18 or even a 17, bumping it down.
Maybe a
because
16.
no, unfortunately, no. It's a
which is the highest I can get.
stranger in a strange land, different cultures, and hyping up people.
But tea, there's tea. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You know what? I'll let you roll. You know what? You're offering people hot beverages, so I'll let you roll with fortune. Go ahead, roll it again.
Fucking
But no, I got the
T-Lord,
highest I
baby.
could.
Oh,
Yeah, I got a nat 20 in the +6. It was 26.
then you definitely succeeded in giving Thessalia the aid for a +1.
It was Stella one. Okay.
I'll take it.
Sweet.
Unless there's T lore, maybe I could get higher. But
I mean,
go ahead.
Well, what's your level of training in performance, Frenell?
trained.
So it's
solidly trained.
yeah, it's something. Thessalia.
myself and my friends, Frenell, who's passing out the tea, Zora, the lizard, Aldred, my good friend, the orc.
The tall one.
They're
tall, brooding one.
We don't have
You'll
orcs in
recognize
Evandale. They're
them.
called Tanau, but yeah. Tanau, yeah.
So I
We're
don't
to now.
remember the names.
We don't like
Sorry.
the word.
It's okay. You remembered lizard, and I am so honored by that. Thank you so much.
Let's see if we can remember what
Dan
race I
does not remember
have.
words.
And I was
cat.
like, you're
The cat.
to now. Going back.
For this, you can. It's because we actually lived it, and a lot of people who are also watching this have also gone through it. You can summarize. We have your performance check, and then I can tell you what happens after that.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't tell the whole story of Arunde. I pretty much start at like in media res as we're like leaving, just to like hype them up, like, oh, you know, we were on the run from these rune giants. They were kicking up clouds of snow and dirt everywhere. We were running and running. Rin was there and he saved us. Like, we made a break for the forest and it was calm for a few nights. Cold, but calm. We evaded capture from the seeking rune giants. And then I go, you know, into how Rin guided us through this hidden mountain pass, past the standing stones, down the frozen river, until we got to the town. And I go through a brief explanation of the town seemed normal until this fisherman told us about what he saw. And he saw a light in the lake where no light should have been. A woman next to the light. And the woman called to him, sang to him from under the waters. And she didn't drown either. And go into an explanation of how then the next day we row out to this spot on the lake and we ran into some trouble. And, you know, talk about how we saved her, kind of, with Karl's quick thinking to splash these black inky tendrils with holy water, and that seemed to release her. But we knew it couldn't last forever. It was merely a temporary solution. Rin knew that we could get supplies here in his hometown. Really, I think he was just a little homesick, but don't tell him I said that. I think he wouldn't agree with that.
Rin's arms crossed and I never said that.
He didn't have to say it. We all knew it.
How do you conclude the story?
I tell that we felt a calling to go back and finish what we had started, to save this, what we eventually discovered was it was a water fae, a water spirit that was benefiting the lake. And we eventually we felt a calling to save her from this black inky tendrils. Can't be good. And we rode, now fully supplied, rode back out into the lake and dove deep, deep to the bottom of the lake. Swam for a while. And we fought these crustaceans that, crabs are never a good thing, but these crabs had these inky black tendrils coming out of them, just like this poor water fae did. And we defeated them. And then
show him your scar. Show him the scar.
There's blood like matting her.
But you've not cleaned up at all, okay?
oh fuck no.
Okay.
And there was this large battle against an undead, I'll call him it, undead, bloated figure with two faces, one on his front side, one on his back. And it seemed to be the guardian, the progenitor of this contagion. And when we defeated it, the tendrils receded, now having been fully defeated. And the lake swiftly and surely returned to normal. It wasn't without losses, as you can clearly see. I was...
Or his hand
yeah.
as well.
There's now a pointed hook on it or something like that, but we're going to get to that in a second.
Yeah. My friend...
The vampires.
My friend
mentioned the
Zora
vampires.
lost her hand, and I very nearly died if it wasn't for Frenell's quick thinking and healing capabilities. You'd be eating pieces of me.
You want to make sure that it's not so tight that she can't take it off and clean it. So.
Yeah, I'm worried.
Do
you have a hand crossbow?
A what?
Well, I'm just wondering if we could put a trigger mechanism somewhere in it.
Svars looks over at the people who were talking in the audience. As you were saying.
You're good. Picked ourselves back up into the boat, Rin and Karl helping us into the boat. We took our wounded selves back to shore, and we made the trek down here. I think that the vampires that we encountered on the way up to this village absconded in the absence of this contagion in the waters. The mists were no longer there. The trails were perfectly clean and clear, just as you'd expect them to be, as if the mists were never there in the first place. And, we made our way here, camping overnight in the mountains. And, a few hours ago we rolled into town, just as you see us.
And with the conclusion of that, you hear it, people are like, Lots of nods and moans of affirmation that it was a good story told. Apparently, that's what they do instead of clapping wildly and what have you. Just good stern Nordic. And several of them, look around, and then and the rest of you begin perceiving, if you're apt to notice, that the villagers kind of look at you in a slightly different light now. Much more accepting and much more welcoming of Frenell's the whole hype man routine. So that was that was a big thing. Like and there in the background, in the middle of a story. So it's like this is pretty good. That was a hype. No. Okay, so
that was great.
You like that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Zik, zik.
That's the sound you make when you hype me up. So every day. Good morning, honey.
Svars stands up, puts his hands against his leg. There was, I have something for you. And he looks over, and his eyes fixate on Alvin, Aldred, and Zora. What's happening over there?
We just finishing tightening up this leather on this stump.
Yeah.
And
I hand back. I've sort of filed out a groove around the hook where the leather goes in, and I say, "We need this cold peened. You're the hit it strong. You." And I hand it to Aldred, as if I'm talking to a toddler.
You want me to do
Yeah,
what?
Yeah. You strong, me not strong. Cold peen.
I'm just gonna look at Zora like,
This side should be flat so it doesn't agitate her stump. Can I call it your stump?
I suppose it can't get any worse. Go ahead. Just don't tell me when you do it. Don't count to 3, but do it on 2.5.
I don't even count.
Bang.
Oh.
I'm just gonna smack it down, I guess.
And with that final blow, Zora now has a working prosthetic that's going to work for a period of time. Just that you know, so everyone knows, prosthetics in Pathfinder 2E enable the person to work at full function, regardless of how it was created. So the lasting portion of it may be an issue just due to the quality of the craft. But we have a...
I'm ready to go. I'm going to disarm all the traps.
We need to get Erin a bendy straw.
God, I need a bendy straw now.
Frenell looks over. It was like, I said I would help. I'm a trained medical professional.
Well,
But you're not a sailor. So
honestly,
I think I know what I'm doing.
I hope it doesn't get infected.
Alvin just flips up his goggles and goes like,
I mouth "help me" to Frenell.
Later.
Thessalia, Svars is looking at those three, looking at what happened there, and after you described it, a whole bunch of other people are now looking at Zora and Zora's prosthetic, and they are rather amazed, but then eyes fixate on Thessalia again, and there's a couple of discomfort, or there's a couple of people there that are uncomfortable seeing you in this state, and the care that seems to be shown by the villagers at this point it's remarkable. Some of them come up and they offer you like cleaning cloths with hot pails of water from, mind you, we're in a pseudo non-magical environment. People saw you in this state at the beginning of the story and broke off. They then come back and you can see that they have warm water in pails and they are ready to assist you with that.
Oh, Tess kind of like puts her hands up, like, I appreciate your kindness. Now that the story's done, I'm gonna take a quick wash up in the river.
Svar, that is my home over there. When you are done, you come on over here. Everyone else, I think, if I may, I would like to break the food with you. Story time again in When 3 crows fly overhead. Everyone, come on, let's go. They don't know what that means. Let's go. And he like he scoots back over there and holds the door open.
I've not seen any crows recently.
Yes, plenty of ravens, no crows, and everyone's like, yeah. so you guys make it back over to Svar's place, and it's a humble establishment. It's cluttered as fuck. He loves collecting things, and you see stockpiles of it with just a clear path through some things here and there. But what you see are mountains of life around this place, and several odd smells. Excuse me. Please come in. And he starts like pushing some stuff off to the sides, and exposes a couple of stools for everyone to sit down on. And says, I'm going to make and he looks around, finds Frenell, points at Frenell. I'm going to make you some tea. I'll be back. And you hear him, he goes in, and he does have a hearth that has it's a cleared out area, and he begins the process of doing that. And you hear him humming in the room rather happily and rather active. The room that you're in is a common room. We're looking at, really, it's nothing more than just a very tiny house. Like, it's a fisherman's house. So it is of humble build and what have you. There are some, the walls are insulated. You do see, like, there's what appears to be like wool stuffing in the walls where other planks have fallen away. So it looks like that he's actually protected against it, and you don't see any daylight coming through the roof. So he's actually doing fairly well for himself. But the collection of items around here is rather amazing. If you are so inclined, give me perception checks.
I would love to.
Very much so.
Zora's gonna practice using her hook.
I can't. Why can't I see what I rolled just now?
Fuck yeah, 27. Did you why'd you privately roll
I
it?
may have privated. Do I need to? Is that,
I don't see it. I don't see
why
anything.
is that set to default blind?
That's weird. Yeah, it says it's a
don't
pink
know.
box that says Chris privately rolled.
Okay, sorry. Here's
So
a
if you're on the character sheet,
19.
you can,
Whatever.
if you're on the character sheet, you can either click the die or the eye. The eye is the private one for perception.
There you go.
You click the die, it's a public one.
There you go.
I see.
Frenell is just amazed that someone's going to make her tea and she's going to sit there and be happy.
Alrighty.
She got a 9.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, this is wonderful. I'm just gonna sit here and kind of glance out. Alvin, Aldred, and Zora, you got a 27. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And Thessalia, what are you doing? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're going for the thing. When you go down to the water, oh, Thessalia's not here. When you
Thessalia is using the bathroom.
Yeah, literally down at the river taking care of business.
In the river.
In the litter box.
So it's so.
Let's hope it was a litter box.
We'll find out.
Amongst what appears to be a collection of hand-hewn wooden bowls, cups, spoons, and other things, you also see books in their various forms laying around. Many of them open with like bookmarks of like strips of cloth or what have you in there. The cloth that you see all over the place, a collection of clothing and spare pieces of cloth, most of it linen and wool, as you would expect in this area. Looking around, you notice plenty of animal skulls and other almost shamanistic things that are on the ends of sticks. You do find a couple of black feathers, like raven feathers, the iridescence or the opalescence there, shining. He does have the shutters open, so there is light coming in. Meanwhile, Frenell, you begin to smell something floral and earthy just start coming into the air, and you can hear him moving around in ceramic jars of some kind as he takes out pinches of various ingredients. For the rest of you, speaking of those jars, you also see a host of these things buried here and there. Overall, he has his entire life here, and given that he's talked to you about his background, essentially a refugee from the neighboring nation, the Zagrak Giants area, he seems rather happy here. You don't get so much as you sit amongst all of this. While it can be considered clutter by some, you pick up on notes of home. And the more you sit there, the more you realize this is everything he's ever had. And he's been here for a spell. And this is home. And it actually feels good. And with that new light, you begin looking around, and you can see the path that goes from here to there it's lovingly carved out, and little things are now, you notice that there are small little carved figures and little wood shavings on the otherwise, it's a little bit of an earthen floor over here, and then some planks of wood are over there. And you find little wood shavings on the place, which actually give a nice smell to that area, and little wooden figurines that are all positioned so that they look down on the path. The gnome in particular, Frenell, you pick up on that. You're much closer to it, and you can see it looks like he's created a little fey village amongst all of this. And then you also notice that the cloth that is around, there's a good abundance of natural earth colors, just due to the types of dyes that are here. And that's not to say that the Mortensen dyes in this area are really bland in color. I mean, most of the buildings are painted of vibrant colors, but the cloth here, browns and greens, all of it organized to represent hills and mountains. He's recreated his own homeland in his own little home. When he finally comes out, he presents to you in wooden cups, one of which is horn. You can see the steam coming off of it and the smell that comes over this. Frenell, give me another perception check. Or you have something related to tea.
Tea lore.
Let's do it.
Oh my god.
Let's do it.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, 13. Even though I'm an expert.
Yeah, we're talking about tea. Give me another one on that. You can roll that. You guys can ask if you want to if you can roll with fortune or misfortune. That's fine.
Oh, we're gonna stick with the first one.
And what was your second one?
It was 11 total.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a +8 on this.
No, it's actually quite all right. You're smelling some familiar tones, but there is something undeniably different about this. It's alien. You take a look at it, and it's a brew. It's an I don't know what you call it when you just brew with the tea leaves directly in the pot, and you don't really bother straining it. But that's what you wind up with. And you can see that there are some dried floral components to this, but there's also you picking up. There's a little bit of ginger or some kind of a root in there that's providing a little bit of settlement and acts like a nervine. It's just calm. It's calmative, but it's also healing, and it's also providing clarity of thought. Frenell, on your next couple of any kind of a mental roll for about the next, we're going to say 4 hours, you're going to roll that with fortune.
Ooh. Alvin takes a sip and casually asks, "So how did you know about the Stargazer?"
The Stargazer?
Yes, how did you know that he brought the fall?
He looks into space for a second. I don't remember telling you anything. Did I tell you something about Stargazers? Oh, the old mayor. Oh, that guy. Stargazer is another term that they. Anyway, Remember, I paid the lady, I paid the wife for his journal entries. That's how I found out much of the information. And then those people who come and migrate here after living in that village, because it's going to have a river come through it. And then they flood it out to irrigate the areas. They also tell stories to me.
Yeah, I'm rolling insight on this bitch.
Sure.
I want to know how he made that connection specifically. And how would I roll insight? Is that diplomacy?
No, it's perception, but check it out under your actions. It's not so much an insight check.
Okay.
Insight is something else in 5e.
Would I roll that with fortune then?
Not necessarily, not in this case.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to know how he made the connection of
You got to tell us what you rolled.
Between the fall and this story of the mayor.
Sure.
And if specifically if there's anything in his past in Arunde that he found similar, perhaps a prophecy of some sort he had heard.
It's great that you want to know things. What are you going to do to try to find them out?
I'm just gonna roll perception and hope you tell me.
Sure. You got to tell me what you rolled.
Oh, I rolled an 18.
Okay. So trying to look at somebody and see whether or not they're lying doesn't necessarily give you any additional information, particularly details like that. So, like I said, it's cool that he wants. I'm urging you to roleplay your interaction with the NPC.
I don't know if you're familiar with the prophecies of Arunde. We've run into them a few times, actually.
I am not familiar with. I try to stay away from Arunde as much as possible, as well as the people who go there, and so I do not know much about them.
Something about. They seemed very grateful. They called the fall Cryosera's gift.
Cryosera?
These.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You were very correct. This mayor, he was not alive, but he was not dead.
Yeah.
He was something else.
Yeah.
And when we dispatched him, that was when the lake was cleansed. You didn't have any other information that led you to help us make that connection. It would be very valuable as we move forward to understand what we're dealing with.
The legends of the frozen serpent that resided up on a mountain that had been slain by a spear. This was very impressive upon the people of my homeland, and this tale goes for a while, and the spear itself made from a falling star. But like so many stories that I hear, you never know what is factual and what is not. At the end of the day, if people are entertained, they often sleep better, and it is my job in society. Sometimes, however, when you hear so many stories, you begin to see the common thread between them all. And like a child holding a red piece of yarn in between two cups and a friend can speak, you begin to get messages through these different stories, all these connections. And sometimes you just have to look at the yarn itself and try to make up a story and explain what it is that you are hearing.
Your story may have saved at least 2 of our lives.
Then I am very thankful for this. Oh, yes, because you have contributed. And he kind of breaks off in thought for a little bit and begins looking frantically around the room. Very, again, somewhat energetic. but still a little bit hunched over, and then still, an older person. He's looking around at, this one, and he grabs this, and he grabs this, and he grabs a couple of other things. Chat, if I may ask you, roll !D20. Roll that 5 times. It may take you a little bit of time, but if you don't mind, roll that. Yeah. And we got a 4. All right. So while everyone else is rolling stuff, let's see here. So the first thing that he pulls out is he pulls out reaches down into it. Let's see if I can get these. And he pulls out like a carved cat. Nope, not that. And he pulls out like a small ampule, a piece of glass with liquid in it that has been sealed shut. And he, who would like this? What you see is like a water inside. It's just a clear water that's kind of like fizzling and bubbling a little bit.
What does it do? What is it?
He looks around. Who's wearing armor?
Not complete.
Probably me.
Aldred. Yeah, he looks over and he hands it over to Aldred. When you wish, you can break this, yeah, and break it over your armor, and then put it down there, and then you will be able to, as long as you are wearing that armor, you will be able to move across liquid like it was solid ground.
Oh wow, that sounds amazing.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Yes. And he reaches out and he it's right there. And he reaches right past Alvin into one of the ceramic jars, pulls this out and hands this to Alvin. I figured do you like oils? The inside of this is an oil. Oh, but you don't. What kind of pointy? What weapon do you use, friend?
My mind mostly, but daggers as well.
Daggers. Well, then, whoever this should go to, and he indicates the oil now in Alvin's possession. This you can apply to your armor or to a weapon, and for a little bit of time, just a small amount of time, it will help to protect or to hit better.
I mean, we saw yesterday, Alvin did not need help with hitting better. You were very, very, very good.
Wow. And he puts up the goggles and he gives a little wink. Puts them right back down.
Oh, you can wink. It's just the goggles that were holding you back earlier.
It's a small price to pay.
Why was everyone winking earlier?
He started taking a breath for other shit.
I hand it to Aldred.
Let's see. So the next number here was 20. This one he pulls out, and you can see it looks like a fairly ornate fired clay tablet. It's small. It's incredibly small. There is a little bit of a sheen to it, however. And you can feel like there's a presence that comes with this. It's a very, very light presence, but if anybody here is sensitive to arcane kind of stuff, you pick up something on it. And then he turns it over and you see etched into it a glyph that looks like it was painted with black smoke. And he just like hands it, here. And
this looks like treasure.
So this is rune that you can put on your armor, and then they make it so that you like its shadows and you can move a little bit better within them.
Ooh. I think I could speak for all of us when I say Zora should have this. I keep it very safe. And I accidentally like tink it with my new hook.
No. You want to not?
It's an accident. I'm still using it. It's brand new.
It's fine.
Brand new.
He does present alchemist. Which of you know alchemy? Yeah. Then this one is for you. And he hands you. It looks like a glass jar. Opaque. You can't really see what's in it. But this will. I do not know word for it in this new language, but you have ability if you consume this, if you drink this, it makes your mind clearer.
Oh.
That is and you immediately understand that it is a cognitive mutagen.
And we put it in our pocket.
Okay. You know what, guys? Give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me one more. Actually, yeah, give me 2 more rolls. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, because we would have Karl too.
Yeah, exactly. In the very least, he gets something. Kevin should be back next week. He's out on vacay. Crazy, like, I'm done for the night. No, you're not.
But then he rolled another.
Oh, and Victor's also rolling. Victor, probably timed out. You may have to roll that one again. Let's see. So this one, he looks around and he looks over. So many of you had you have issues, and he kind of like looks around. Where is the cat, by the way?
At this point, through narrative convenience, Tess walks in, looking a little bit damp, with like frost kind of like forming on the tips, like the tip of her furs.
Yeah.
And she cleaned herself up, basically. You know, she tried to scrub some of the blood out of her pants and, wrappings and bindings to some success. More bloodstains for the pile.
Sure.
And she kind of walks in and like she looks very reinvigorated by this very cold bath she took.
Fantastic.
All right. I apologize for the delay. Blood's a bit tricky to get out sometimes. Did I miss anything?
While you were down there, yes. You saw Rin down by one of the small docks on the river, and it looks like he was talking to someone about and you saw there a couple of like ferries and river boats. You saw somebody, it looks like he was talking to somebody about that.
Yeah, if like they're still talking after she was done, getting cleaned up, she would go over there, still kind of sopping wet a little bit. She'd be like, "Oi, Rin, how's it going?"
Fine. I'll catch up with you. And then he turns back into his native language and starts talking to the other guy.
Do I get the sense that he's like setting up the deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He just doesn't want to. He's like, you can see he has coin in his hand, and his gestures. You're fairly observant. His gestures are like he's in the middle of a haggle.
Yeah. I'll just whisper, "I'm going as far as," and then
I'll catch up. So listen, you, and yeah.
Yeah.
So and
yes.
You make it back.
Yeah. So I'll make it back and share that with everybody. Oh, well, I highly suggest taking a dip in the river if you haven't already. Very invigorating. Rin is currently setting up our new ship to take us downriver. So he'll be here, and well, it looked like he'll be about another 10 or so minutes.
Speak of the kitty. This is why I think you. And he looks at, you. And he points right at Aldred. Let me see your blade.
I'm gonna pull it out and show it to him.
Yes. You will want this. And he looks around. He can't find it in this room. Goes in the next room, fetches it. Aha! And comes back. He hands you what appears to be a glass vial that is gilded a little bit in gold, like gold wire around it. And at the top, you can see it is almost like a walnut, like an oiled walnut stopper. I have a feeling you will be able to use this a little bit better. It has ability to, shall we say, make that sharper. And he hands it over. But it will not last forever. You must be careful for this. It only lasts about a minute, but it is going to be something for you. Let me see what else I have here. So considering the chat rolled 2 20s.
We win.
Yeah, you
job,
do.
chat.
It's like,
The
you
meteors
seriously do.
go back because they are
Yeah,
afraid.
the meteors go back home.
Yeah, there's no... Yeah, you're fine now. You don't have to worry about it now.
Chrysaria like forfeits. Cynthia comes back. We're done.
Chrysia's like, absolutely not.
Nordaga's like, hey, you guys are pretty cool. Maybe we could all just, smoke a blunt and hang out.
Nordaga, sure. Yeah, I mean...
You act like that's not what Nordaga's already do.
It's like,
We're all Italian
fucking
now.
The
mortals.
glass reassembles itself. It's no longer
Yeah.
broken.
That's what she's doing down in Woodfia.
Yeah, just like sitting around with her peeps, just kind of like, hey,
Yeah.
Grateful
see any good
Dead's in the
intestines lately?
background.
So, let's see. Man.
Fucking music festival in the woods. Tearful of Palooza.
Oh, fuck. I'm looking for this last one. Where are you? Oh, there it is. Okay. This one, he looks around and he looks very confused. He looks like that he can't find what he's looking for. And he's... this is... He stops, looks resolute, stands up straight, arches his back, cracks his neck for a second, looks out through the window at the village. As your eyes follow, the bustle of the village is noticeable contrast to what it was 4 days ago when you were here. It's bustling. You can smell smoked fish on the air. People are walking with a little bit more purpose in their step. Their cheeks aren't as sunken, haven't eaten a good meal. Then he looks at his home inside. Well, I suppose all of you would benefit from this better now, considering the work that you have all done. I am sorry to say I only have one, but he reaches around his neck and pulls out a leather thong, and in it you can see, or at the end of it, he pulls it out from underneath his clothing. You see it's in a very simple, it looks like an orange prism of some kind, contained in a little wire wrapper, and he kind of like undoes the wire wrapper and he holds it out. Who is good with the magics?
Alvin points to Frenell.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna point you to.
Yeah.
You're Carl.
No.
You are...
We all point to Frenell at the same time.
You do what with the magic?
Well, it depends on what's needed. Typically, and she hears him go, and waits.
I've seen her talk
What are you
to
asking?
birds.
If I may. And from a distance of about 4 feet or so, he kind of leans in and throws the stone right at Frenell's head and immediately goes and starts floating around her head. This. Now I want you to think for a moment. And I want you to imagine if somebody were to what can you do? What spells do you have?
Well,
What have you studied?
Sure, a lot of natural things. I can shoot sort of almost like a poisonous sappy vine out.
And he runs into the other room, and the door, he shuts the wooden door that everyone had walked through, and you can see like an abundance of stabs and rods and stuff there. And he's like, and he pulls one back, and it's completely gnarled, and you can see like it has an old fucking died maybe 70 years ago vine that's all around it, and in some places the vine is still like wrapped to it with more that wire that he has like hanging around, and even some rawhide strips just to hold the old vine in place. And he goes, now stop me, and he slams it down against the ground, and you see the vine go, it starts heading right towards your feet. You immediately go, you think about stopping it for a second there, and the stone everyone else sees begins to glow like an orange. Frenell's hand starts being overcome with that orange-like light, and then if you concentrate, if your next action is to cast a spell, that spell's level is 1 higher for the purposes of counteracting and being counteracted. Whoa. In this game,
say that again.
In this game, you can counteract somebody else's spells. You are a little bit better at it now. But if you don't activate it, you now receive, while you have this, a +2 item bonus to any of your arcane or arcana, nature, occultism, or religion checks. It's known as an orange prism ion stone, and it's level 16.
It's big.
I'll trade you my goggles.
And all you hear from somewhere in the village, God damn it! Now he wants to get rid of the goggles. I just need to put it now.
At the same time, sort of as Frenell is getting used to this magic, as she looks over, her eyes glow orange and said, "You still owe me 10 gold." And then just like looks back, just like completely like happy again, and just don't know what came over me there for a second.
Wait. You said that
to Alvin.
Oh, to Alvin.
He said that. He's like, "You still owe me 10 gold." And then she just like goes back and like it's like super happy, like no dark pallor anywhere. Okay, so you said it's so with counter spells, that's something that anyone can do, but now I can do better, right?
Counter spells are a let's see, hold on. They can provide you with let me look this up for you really quick.
Sure.
So well, nope, that's not it.
The only times I've seen it happen is like when watching like a D&D 5e campaign.
Yeah, so counter spell does exist.
Not sure how it works in P2E.
Well, it's typically a witch or wizard feat. It's something that you can do, but in this case, we're going to say that it kind of works like a ring of counter spells, which is going to say that it's going to impart you with the ability. Okay. So we can work on it, but basically, you're going to know. Well, you would need to be able to identify the spell being cast. Mm-hmm. And as long as you know the name and the level of it, then you might be able to actually counteract the spell. But I'll get you an official on that. The short version is if you have the spell and somebody is casting that spell, you can counteract it. But it may be a little bit better than just that.
Okay. And if I don't do that, I can also get the +2 on other stuff. Yeah.
There's the counteract. Yeah, that is a permanent thing as long as you have that thing around your head.
Okay. Awesome.
Alrighty.
Awesome.
so that you.
At least I know what to do with this one. I have the dull one still that I've never like have done anything with.
No worries.
I like toss it up there just to spin. It's not doing anything. But
Yeah, that's right, because you had the other one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
just like
So-
it's going the opposite direction.
great. You just entered into the 3-body problem and. Any physics, astrophysics? No. Okay.
No, I get it.
Really-
You got it.
That's
Okay.
good.
Thank you. All right.
We'll have much more trouble calculating Frenell's position from now on.
Yes, yeah, very precisely. So Frenell, what you have here for a counterspell, it is a reaction, meaning as soon as somebody does it, regardless of whose turn it is, you have the ability to take an action. It is a reaction when a foe casts a spell and you can see its manifestations. You can use your own magic to disrupt it. So in order to do that, you would expend a prepared spell to counter in order to counter a creature's casting of that same spell. You lose that spell slot as if you had cast the triggering spell, and then you attempt to counteract the triggering spell itself.
Sure. So when I do that, I have to add it to my actual sheet and everything, and I'm sure it'll make more sense then too.
Yeah, it'll all be there, but yeah, I did just want to let you know.
And it only works with the spells that I know.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, as long as you have the same spell. So it is somewhat limiting.
So I'm glad that so many people have used the spells that I've used so far.
Yeah, so
And it'll be there if I need it.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of works for you. What you end up doing is a counteract check. That's ultimately what you're going to look up, but we can do that offline, or I can lead you through it if you want to be able to do that. All right.
If it comes up, we'll burn the bridge when we get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a worry. You now have it, and I have a record of everyone having these things. As for the others here, there is. I've been thinking about this information, and you, and he points over to Alvin. You had said that you had a dot about this thing. What did you notice around the area? Did you see any of the black ichor?
Yes, and I've been meaning. I don't know what it is. I don't like it though. It seems to act intelligently. It is attracted to power. It is not of this world, and specifically, we know from Frenell, it is not of Nordaga. What's worse is that it appears to coalesce under the earth. It seeks out its kind and grows in power. And with every meteor, it might grow more powerful.
It is alive.
We think so.
And Tess is gonna pull out her vial of the black goo.
Tess, can you roll a... Let me just make sure on this.
Reflex.
No. At least I don't think it's going to be. 1 second. I want to make sure.
It was only reflect when you forgot to tie it to your person and then went underwater.
Where was it stored?
It would have been stored, around. It was stored around her neck as like a necklace.
Yeah. And you took damage in that same area, right?
I guess, yeah. I thought it was more intestinal area, not so much.
Sure.
Neck.
Yeah, well, it was. You were eviscerated down below, 100%. Give me a reflex save.
That's what she said.
As you said, yeah. You're
13.
aiming. 13?
13. Lucky number. Right, Stephen? That's a lucky
My
number.
mother uses that name, Daniel. So, child, put me into that fucking mode. You notice
grounded.
you're grounded. Go sit in the corner. When you pull out the vial, it is cracked, and there is none of that black in it.
Well, shit.
God damn it.
Well, this is issue. Let me see. You should not have to deal with these things. He seems to be in a quandary. You can detect amongst the good mood of the village and everything like that, a little bit of pallor. It has changed in him now, and he seems to think. Yeah. Hold on. And he seems to be needing to convince himself of something, and he goes back into the other room where the staffs are. Looks over there real quick, doesn't see what he's looking for, goes back into the further over by the hearth or what have you, which is out of view from where you are, where your current seated position is. He muddles around in there for a little bit and then returns. And you can see it's like a wooden shaft that has been snapped at the end. But the shaft itself looks like it has been formed with a draw knife. And that there's some scalloped portions out of it, but it's all done fairly evenly, and you can imagine that holding this provides a little bit of a better grip. The shaft itself is about 5 feet long. Who is the one who can seek these things out, or wishes to in the future?
What do you mean?
This is the shaft of the spear of the fallen star.
Oh.
Some stories are true. This remembers. It does not have the weapon part of it, and I would not use this as a weapon. It is unwieldy, but it will hopefully point you in the direction if you are near to one of those things. But I must caution you, do not go looking for them without knowing what it is. You must do your research, and I suspect it is so much worse than any story I can tell here.
I mean, Karl is the one with the research book. Oh, Karl, you're too modest. Take the spear.
That's it. And then hands it to Karl.
Karl is helping with the negotiations with the boat.
Alvin holds on to it just until Karl can hold on to it.
When you're holding on to it, Alvin,
Oh no.
give me a will save.
Oh jeez Louise.
Oh no.
It couldn't have been anyone else, huh? I
was
had
you.
to be the brave one.
You had to be.
You were the chivalrous one.
Oh boy. And is that something I get fortune on because it involves the mind, or?
Nope. What'd you get?
Well, that's a solid 7 right there. Oh boy. Alvin really should stop touching things.
When you take it, you can feel that same kind of, well, you know that issue that you had where all of a sudden everything went. You remember that?
Well, he didn't remember it up until the point when he touched that, and all of a sudden now he does remember it, and
Exactly.
he don't like that. Yeah.
All of those memories now come back. You remember everything that transpired. And then after the fog of your mind, you can begins to clear. And you can see it now in your head. You realize the staff is also helping protect you against it. So, write this down.
Okay.
Call it the Staff of the Fallen Star. And
Okay.
I got it.
and while perfect, call it the Staff of the Fallen Star. And while it's being held, he has a +2 to any will saves against that.
Oh, geez, I touched something good this time. Are you proud? Is everyone proud of me? No.
Yes, we're so.
But they don't have an idea what
we have
you're
no
talking
idea
about.
what's-
Yeah.
You're holding
I'm
the
sorry.
stick.
I just drifted off there.
Please, you're going to be giving it to Karl, correct?
I just
Please don't
wink
break
at
it.
him.
Yes. We'll be giving it to Karl. We think.
No.
Fidel's eyes glow orange again,
No.
just in case.
We'll be giving it to Karl, yes. Speaking of which, does anyone have that spell book? Maybe this guy's real observant. Maybe he saw the magician. And he knows his true name.
I believe
Right?
Karl has that.
Oh,
That's
damn.
Carl's book.
Well, we'll ask next time we pass through, I'm sure.
Well, about what? The magician's name?
Yeah, the true name of the magician, so we can open the spell book.
Oh, that book. I still think
Yeah.
Karl has it.
Yeah.
He does.
Okay.
Would have been useful if we took it around and asked people if they remembered a magician passing through.
Fully realizing that you were talking about this stuff in front of Svars, he seems genuinely curious, but he's also a little bit concerned. He has like a look at, you very clearly can think better now.
Yes, the tea is working.
Good.
I've been telling you, tea is good for you.
I might have to switch from coffee to whatever the hell this is. It's real good.
It's the power contained within the shaft of that spear.
Oh, well, I can't drink that, clearly.
Maybe we can give this shaft to someone else.
I think it might be safer with Karl, yeah.
The Karl
I
is
don't
not
think
here.
I should touch things for a bit.
Here, just let me hold it.
He's
I
like,
hand it to Aldred.
oh, okay. He's like, he goes for it, and then yes, that, perfect. I see my time to tell stories has again arrived. Go figure, the crows decide to float north.
I can tell them to turn around if you would like.
No, I think
She literally can.
I'm of this I am certain, but I think at this point in time it is necessary for me to let you go. My time here is coming to an end. It's the natural way of things.
Are you sick?
No,
So
time is the thing.
He's old, Zora.
Yes.
Oh. You
But
don't get retirement? You know, the people in the town down south, they have a union of storytellers, so you can actually relax at a certain age. You don't have to tell stories anymore.
a look of
Is this another layaway? It's another layaway thing. You know, it's okay.
you see. Give me a perception check, Zora.
Oh. Okay.
Spicy.
I think I see too.
Yeah.
16.
He looks incredibly disappointed at you. He's talking about his mortal death. And to him, he seems to have taken everything you just said with a, like, why would you remind me of that? Why would you make light of that? However you choose to interpret that.
Zora sheds a single tear and sits down quietly.
So,
Some of us.
Spars, before we go, do you have a piece of paper and a writing utensil?
somewhere, maybe I have
Alvin
a
does.
lot of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
She
yes.
takes it from
yeah.
Alvin and she's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, rips a page out of the back of his notebook.
Thank you.
I'm going to go and tell some stories now.
Would you
Mars,
like
remember the good that you've done here.
I have to
saved-
remember the good that you did now, because the story I'm going to tell will be yours. I have to try it out
Maybe
somewhere.
you can tell it better than we did.
No, I think Thessalia did a good job. Very
That's
good
very
job.
generous.
You have
Yeah,
storytelling in
very
your
generous.
future, I can tell. I am also prophet.
And there's with that laughter, Zora, you can also tell that his laughter it's the same laughter as it always has been, but for a moment there that you perceived his guard let down. This is a man who has seen some sorrow, and he uses that laughter and other things to kind of get him through life. For the rest of you, he's shambling around a little bit. He gathers together the rest of his belongings, throws his satchel back on with his apples in it and what have you. Looks down at Aldred. You have to... You need to keep them all safe now.
Yeah,
And
I know.
you, no more with the fur and the blood. It's not good luck for you, and
I think I look rather dashing with it.
yes, yeah.
It helped lend credence to the story, did it not?
I do not know if it needed credence or not, but
Where I come from, storytellers are wonderful additions to the crew, but
yeah.
their stories get a little fantastical at times.
yeah.
So physical aids are helpful.
He looks over at Zora.
You have unique abilities, and I am proud to have known somebody who was willing to sacrifice even a part of their body to save an entire village. And that is no small feat. And speaking of small feats,
And he looks down at the two gnomes.
you, with the nature, you have a connection that is going to take you far, and I hope one day people realize the importance that nature plays in this world, and they stop trying to ignore it. And as for you, try not to break any more windows.
He turns and he walks out the door, and then he pops his head back in and looks over at Thessalia.
Nudvris! Nuvros! Goodbye.
And he starts walking away. You can see him out of the window, which has no painted glass in it. And it's you see him, he's like 15 feet that way.
Yeah, Tess just gets up and walks out to the door and calls after him. What's that supposed to mean?
He doesn't even bother turning around, and you can see a crowd of people, and he starts waving at them, and then he points to the sky as he calls back to Thessalia, "Red sails!" And he sits down and starts telling the story of the Seekers of the Fall in front of the audience.
Oh, Alvin wants to stay and hear the story so bad.
However, our adventure tonight does not end here. Rin finally comes back.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad that, Thessalia, I'm sorry that I tried to shove you off, but
Oh no, you're fine.
we have a riverboat. So, this is the good news. We will be able to go down it will become the Senecula River down below. But for now, this river, it pours out where we need to go. By the way, I'm thinking that where is Svar's? Oh, it's back over there. So, we have the item.
Aye.
And while I think it is dormant, we are going to have to do something about it. I need to get us back to the society as soon as I can. So, paid a little bit of extra, but we have a boat that will take us somewhere. And there is a slight chance that we will not have to make the rest of the journey back to the society all the way down south. How comfortable are you with a travel with magic?
I'm fine. I'm honestly more excited about traveling on a boat again.
We'll be on it for about 3 days' time or so. That's about how long it's going to take us to get down there. And it is a river. I apologize. It is not exactly a sea, but
can we go see the boat?
Yeah. Come on. And he with a little bit of pep in his step and a little bit of jingle of coin in a nearby pouch on his belt, he starts heading out. And as you start walking amongst the village and the sounds of the village start filling the air, and you begin passing by Svar, and there it was, down deep in the lake over there, just a day and a half journey north. The old village, there was the Star Seeker. And then these heroes, they come. And as you pass, you hear the names of Frenell and Aldred. Alvin, the mighty alchemist, I tell you. Thessalia, the sworn one of vengeance. And Zora, the shadow slipper. All of them kind. I would call and Rin over there. And people go, Rin, yeah, Karl. And he continues to tell the story. And as you guys going on, Rin's like, he's actually quite good at what he does. But we have to go.
Yeah, and before we left, I dropped off a little note and a tiny little package for Svars. So for one, if I can read just a little bit. So in the letter, I gave him an address to Frenell's home. At some point, just like deep in the woods. Gave him her address as well as a special tea blend that can help inspire joy and potentially longer life. As well as the rest, and it has a little bit of a flavor of apple because she saw that he was eating so many apples. She also gave him the recipe to the special tea she gave him a few days ago for his throat.
Oh, that's adorable.
So she didn't leave him any more tea, but gave him the recipe to it.
Okay.
As well as, it's just like, and may you find peace. And there's like a little like rune that he would understand from all of his journeys as being a special blessing from Scythia. And finally, like little like postscript. Also borrowed some of your garlic and like left a few coins.
Awesome. Be sure to mark that stuff off.
So cute.
I wrote that down. Let's see if any of that ever.
I can send it to you later. If
yeah, that'd be brilliant. Yeah, please do. And it's also, I'm sure Zora's also going to keep a journal of this.
Sure. I'll send it to you.
It's gonna be hard to write, but
I also tossed into our Discord chat a link to all of the item descriptions that you guys received.
thank you.
Sure
Thank
thing.
you.
Having said that, when you guys finally get down to the docks, you see a man down there with a river boat. I mean, there's like there is a sail. There are 2 oar holes in the gunnels, but there's also a long 20-foot pole there as well, in case you guys need to do any of that kind of stuff. The man is he's just tying the rope off in order to make sure that the boat doesn't go off. It's moored against the dock, and he's Rin comes over. It's a dock for run. And man just kind of nods for a second. All right, this is our home for the next 3 days. It's not much. There's no deck underneath. There's no galley or anything. So at night we'll still have to pull over, and you can see that this is. I mean, it's a vessel. It's definitely a vessel, and it is river worthy. Probably. You take a look in the middle. You know what? The 2 of you, give me sailing lore.
Yes.
I thought you'd never ask. That's an 18 for Tess.
And what you got?
That's a 12.
Aldred's a little bit foggy after that fight. Thessalia?
Tess got an 18.
Oh, yeah. So, Aldred, you kind of notice that it is, it's definitely worthy. I mean, there's no problems with it whatsoever. But Tess, you pick up on one little detail that Aldred may have missed. In the center, there is a large wooden box. And you can see that the keel that runs the length of the ship is particularly fat. It's particularly bolted. Well, it's not bolted down. It's particularly strengthened in that area. And when you walk over and you kind of lift it up, you can see a large round hole in it. That is where the mast could go. So while it does not have a mast and sail here, this can be easily converted to a sailing vessel.
Rin,
Yeah.
how much extra would it be for a mast and a sail?
The mast is going to be too hard for this, but it does not have the draft in order to be able to make it through the river. There's no keel on this currently. We can add those things to it. We bought the boat.
All right. Oh, you fully bought.
This is purchased. This is ours.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, you're captain again,
does she
Tess.
have a name?
Well, it's whatever. You guys earned it.
What's your name?
It's whatever you want.
I think the honors must go to our esteemed and still alive Thessalia.
Well, personally, I'm fond of continuing the legacy of ships I've wrecked, or have been wrecked under my tutelage.
Rin kind of looks at you for a second and then looks over at Aldred. Did I make a mistake?
Well, you see, the first ember I burned when I discovered my powers. Second ember, well, that's what tossed me and Aldred into this whirlwind adventure.
I say we name her the Fireproof.
For once, I agree with Alvin.
I'm partial to the third ember, personally, but
I am not. And his feet like get a little bit heavier on the soil.
We could name it the Svars.
This farce?
Everyone, Alvin is nodding like, that's a damn fine idea.
Why?
I don't hate it.
Maybe it'll break a tradition that you seem to have there, Thessalia.
On one condition. We tell stories every night.
Oh, I'm so fucking on board. And he like gets on board, finds his sea legs, and all is good. The sounds of the river against the hull remind our two sailing friends over there that life can sometimes return to normal. But I'm curious about the rest of you. How are the rest of you faring on a sailing vessel now that you've been at it for about half of a day and getting ready to... Rin promises at some point that there's a campsite that we can get to. But how are you guys faring in the meantime?
Zora has been scratching her back up against the mast.
There is no mast.
There's just a
Up
box.
against the
Remember that, there's
side.
no mast, yeah.
Up against the side. Bent over like this and go back and forth to get all of the dead skin off of her back, but realizing as she's leaning over that she's very close to the water, that she was the same, well, not the same water, but similar situation to where she lost her hand. So she's not really happy.
Alvin has been practicing telling stories because now that he knows it's mandatory, he wants to tell the best damn story anyone's ever heard. And it's grating. It's not good. It's aggravating.
Roll a performance check.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
picture Alvin looking like the apothecary in Shakespeare in Love.
I love that movie too. I love it when it first came out. Remember to
there
tell us
we
what you
go.
rolled.
That's not what I'm trained in. All right.
What'd you roll, dude?
Alvin rolled a 1.
There you go. Can you, just for a quick little 10 seconds, only 10 seconds, can you give us an idea of what that story might have sounded like with a 1 in performance?
And when the bird flew away, he knew for the first time that his father was actually a graham cracker.
There's like a pregnant pause after that. Rin is just
absolutely riveting, Alvin.
It's great. It had a subject and a predicate.
I don't understand the story.
It really loses something in translation from the original Gnomish, but just imagine the graham cracker.
Frenell looks like she lost some brain cells.
Stormy. I'll explain it to Stormy later in private. But I understood it.
You know when we named it Svars and said, "Oh, we have to tell stories." That was more just sort of out of kindness and just, just making conversation, right? You don't have to tell a story if you would rather not.
I mean,
I think I'd rather be silent.
But Alvin in particular. You don't have to, as long as someone tells a story. Sometimes you don't have to do it right now. It's okay.
It's like a riddle. I just keep coming back to the graham cracker, and I don't know.
I'll explain it to you later, Stormy. All right? Don't worry your pretty little head
The
off.
bird was named Marshmallow, remember?
No, you left that out. Was that in your head?
Oh man. No, it doesn't make sense then.
Wait, there were marshmallows?
Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't make sense then.
The time passes, and so does the silence as Aldred continues to figure out. But graham cracker. So the gentle sway.
Karl is speechless. Karl is just speechless.
Karl, yeah, he's just.
Karl's looking up marshmallow in his index.
He's like, there's nothing in here about graham crackers. I don't see. So the gentle sway of the boat and the soft murmur of the river do in fact set a tranquil scene. Things are going fairly well. However, Rin has turned control of the vessel over to those who know something more about it. Take it over. What would you like to roll to see if you succeeded in piloting this?
Personally, I would like to roll sailing lore. I'm a smidge better at that.
Go ahead.
Well, that's a total of 10.
You're disrupted by some of your wounds.
Yeah.
What do we like? How are we steering and navigating the ship?
The big pole.
How is that set up? Oh, the pole.
That's a punting pole.
There's also a rudder.
Okay.
There's a rudder in the rear, in the aft.
There are also 2 oars.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm on that rudder. so athletics? I'm not sure.
Do you have sailing lore?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it up.
All right. 14.
Not a problem. Yeah.
All right.
You end up continuing, and said breaking his silence for like the past hour or so. Rin, like looking up at seagulls. You know, since we have to tell stories, I'll tell you something of the stories from my home. This is where I come from. Village no longer there, just a little while down on the east coast, but in this area the rivers are said to have spirits and you need to placate them. Growing up as a child, they always steered us away from the rivers,
And this was necessary because, you know, sometimes children, they get a little bit too curious. And this river, as you can tell, the current is strong. So, I remember one time that there was it's like an old man, or so they say. It was an old man who was in the river. Sometimes he was an old woman, sometimes he was just an old spirit. We never knew, always changing. And it always depended on who it was that it was talking to, because it always took on the appearance of someone that you knew. And it would lure them into the water using this, but always look like an elder of some kind. Well, one time, my friend, he come back from the river, and he's drenched, like he went for a swim, but his clothing changed. This is the weird part. 10 years prior, when we were very small, another child went into the river and disappeared. And when my friend fell into the river and came back, he was wearing the clothes of the child who disappeared 10 years prior. It leads me to believe that the river spirits in this area are very difficult, or can be, and have been here for a very long time. So if you hear anyone, in order for you to get by, according to legend, you need to answer riddle, or you need to do a dance or sing a song, so that they don't take you back in time and have you live worst nightmare or something like that. But yeah, I am not much of a storyteller, but I can tell you that whole thing.
Alvin looks up from his formula book that he's been reading from. Was he naked when he fell in the river?
No.
Your friend?
No.
So you're saying the river spirits undressed him and then put clothes on him again?
No. No.
I don't understand this story at all.
We
Graham
can
cracker.
understand your story though, so it's perfect. It cancels each other out.
Not quite. They can do something to you sometimes. Anyway, how far away to that site on the map that I indicate?
I don't quite know. Let me read this map. How long is it?
No. He takes a map away from Zora and then gives it to Aldred or Thessalia. Yeah.
And I hand it to Thessalia.
How far away are we? How fast do you figure? I don't know. Is this what you do?
Well,
Sorry, Zora. Apparently, it takes two hands to read a map.
Alvin, that was rather uncalled for. Accurate.
No, I thought that
but
was
uncalled
funny.
for.
Plenty of pirates only have one hand, or so I read.
We're not pirates.
Where are
I
you
don't
getting
know.
this pirates notion from?
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
If
That's
I only
ridiculous.
have one hand and I am on a boat, am I a pirate now? Is that how it works?
It's
I think
not
it's
so
that
much.
How far away to the campsite?
Do you want me to roll sailing lore or survival?
Whichever's better for you.
Sailing lore.
Okay.
I think we're the better part of a day and a half out.
Let me
Dang
let me
it.
see that. Give me that.
Listen, I was captain. I was never navigator.
Okay.
Clearly.
I still have so much to show you. 21.
Yeah, you do. You estimate about another hour.
About an hour. A day and a half.
Listen, I'm.
There's an uncomfortable silence. And Bryn's like, all right, so between an hour and a day and a half, and we should be there. Hopefully we won't run out of supplies. Well, sure enough that hour does pass by, and
Your
Aldred.
dad was bad at it too, so it's okay.
It runs in the family.
The hour passes by, He indicates an area of the campsite. Guys push off, bring it up on shore just a little bit, and start setting up camp. Nighttime has fallen. It's quiet, but one of the most comforting things here, however, is it's actually peaceful, and it's warm. It's warmer. You guys ended up going about 72 miles. So you made you did fairly well, and for our metric friends, about 116 kilometers. When you push up, the region that you're in is a heavily forested region, and you are now looking at a shoreline that is just filled with a small little grassy area, along with a couple of it looks like that other people have camped here, some bare spots where the grass is just beginning to come back, a ring of stones that apparently holds a fire or has held a fire in the past, as well as some burnt timbers that are still within it. But you can also see that rain and other things have washed away most anything useful. The temperature right now is temperate, coldish temperate. Kind of like a really cool spring evening, if you will, in a temperate zone such as like in New York or in this area of the U.S. While the seagulls are still out, the thing that's really nice about this, though, is the scent of balsam that's in the air. And Frenell, you look out and you can see a couple of herbs and some wildflowers, as well as some other things that have grown in the area that definitely have some medicinal value. Thessalia, you can see that further down the river, it seems to be widening out a little bit, and that, of course, stands to reason. You've seen various inlets come in, from various high regions. And Aldred, gauging what you now know of this river, I mean, obviously you're going down a decline, but you find a nice little area where you're kind of like looking down as the sunset like illuminates the area, and you see that there's some rapids and whatnot up ahead, but it looks like that you'll be fine. Alvin, when you start making camp, what does that look like? And the same question to you for Zora.
Well, the first thing I do is I clear out a nice spot. And I sit down and I pack myself a pipe, which is something you haven't seen Alvin do yet on this adventure. He's very, very seldom smokes, but he feels like he's definitely earned it after this ordeal. And pipe in his mouth, puffing away, he then proceeds to assist setting up a tent or two. We don't have tents, do we? He just picks out a nice spot for his bedroll beside the fire. It's not raining. And proceeds to just sort of like brush away the twigs and leaves. Okay. And it's very solemn, very, very measured.
Zora?
I think Zora has a very strategic, method that she goes about setting up camp. It's very ritual, almost like a ritual, and she's always done it clockwise because she's right-handed. So I think now she's realizing that she's got a new attachment that she has to work with. She's starting to do everything counterclockwise. So as she's setting up, it's like a lot more bleh. And she's sort of getting frustrated. You can hear her mutter under her breath as she pulls moss and dirt away off her hook every 3 seconds. And
Alvin helps untie Zora's bedroll.
Oh.
I do just want to put it out there that is player choice to have difficulty with the prosthetic. Again, in the game, you do have full use of it if you want to play it that way.
Yeah. This is it's new. She'll get used to it. This is for flavor.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, I definitely do not want to sacrifice dice rolls. So.
Not a problem.
No.
Yeah, so it's she notices that that Alvin is unrolled her bedroll for her, and as she does that, she pulls like the accidental tear that she like in the corner of Alvin's bedroll that was she was undoing his, and like kind of like smooths it over, folds the corner under, and keeps going.
Okay.
Now remember, guys, if you feel compelled to go into the river by some spirit, don't let it undress you.
That's
And he just goes back to preparing the camp.
It's okay.
You'll end up wearing the same clothes.
It wasn't the same clothes though. It was like a child's clothing from 10 years before that.
You'll end up wearing a child's clothing.
It's,
And he keeps setting it up. He thinks he's very funny.
As the stories and the chastising and the teasing and other things continue, the fire does set a wonderful soft glow. You are still near the shore, keeping an eye on everything. Some of you have gone out to get a scope of the land, kind of assess any dangers that might be out there. What kind of, like some of you more natural inclined, probably, did a little bit of survival stuff, looking out, seeing what kind of spore is on the ground, therefore what kind of animals are in the area, what are possible threats, what are view lines. You guys know how to do this. You've been out there now. Don't forget, your characters have been together now for almost, I'd say about 3 weeks now. And keep in mind, a week is 6 days long here, but nonetheless about 3 weeks. And you have been journeying mainly in Arctic weather, but you also traveled all that distance from where you are, or from where you were to where you are now. So it's been a journey. And at last, to hang out and simply talk with one another in such a casual fashion around a campfire, while the familiar now teasing of Alvin seems to lift the mood a little bit, because you all understand each other a little bit better. I'm going to go around real quick and tell me one new thing about each other that you've learned to enjoy about your fellow character.
Well,
Don't rush into it.
Oh, you said you were gonna go around. I thought you were
No. It's a usual thing. One person starts talking and you pass it over to the other.
I've learned to enjoy tea. I think it's lovely, and sometimes it can even clear the mind. Specifically the tea that Frenell makes, and I'm thankful that she makes it. She's nice to have around.
Who are you passing it to? Remember, you have to pass it to someone.
I pass it to Frenell.
Frenell is coming to realize that, or at least what she thinks is, Alvin seems to have some sort of like walls that are kind of dropping as he becomes like more comfortable in the group, or at least that's what she's perceiving, is that he is starting to open up and be a little bit less secretive. And then I pass it to Aldred.
With like the change of scenery and everything feeling warmer and calmer, I'm kind of like letting things down and really enjoying Alvin's company right now. I think Aldred likes Alvin, and he thinks that he's hilarious, actually.
Oh God, no.
What have you guys done? Everyone's liking on the Alvin now.
This is not what I intended when I made this character.
the goggles.
It's
The goggles.
very, very, very humorous, and Aldred appreciates it. And I'm going to give it to Thessalia.
Tess is not one specific person, but she is beginning to feel more and more like she has a crew again. And like we all have each other's backs. And that's not something that she's felt Like that's something that she grew up with and never knew any different up until like 3-4 months ago. So she's starting to feel much more just at home in general with everybody. And I'm going to pass it to Karl.
Oh, it would
Zora.
be me. I think Zora. Mine's not as heartfelt. I think Zora realizes that Tess has this like weird, ironic aversion to water on land because the cups of water she keeps knocking over inadvertently as they sit around the fire. And she thinks it's funny that for a sailor who loves the sea and the call of the water is constantly knocking over cups.
It shouldn't be contained within a glass. That's for ale and rum.
He's right.
Hey, Ren, I've got a bit of a question for you.
Yeah. He pulls in closer
notice-
to the campfire, kind of bundling up, and with a sincere glance looks over at Alvin, possibly trusting him for the first time.
You notice anything different about Frenell here?
You
Certainly you're a ranger. Come on now.
did your hair different?
No, there's an orange gem floating around her head. Come on.
Oh, I thought that was the
You didn't
same one.
notice?
Well, I thought that was the same.
No, it's just floating around her head. Isn't that
Oh.
crazy?
That's
Yeah.
I mean, you had one floating around your head before. I thought you just turned on the lights on this one. What is that?
Damned if I know. Frenell's that's her purview.
That's why I'm asking for no.
It was a gift from Svars. It's a magic stone that gives me a little bit of a boost magically.
In what way?
And
Like, can you turn into an eagle now and carry us down the river faster?
it sort of increases my natural abilities, but also in some situations, if I am already if I'm already familiar with a spell, I can potentially counterspell it, which isn't something that I could really do before. It was a very precious gift from him.
Yeah. Can you turn into an eagle though?
My father could, but I can't. I'm sorry.
No. Is this something you have to wait for and learn, or how does this work?
That it takes a lot of schooling, and I didn't go quite that route. Potentially, one thing that you all should know, if as we continue, we keep bringing up Nordaga. One of my favorite things about Nordaga is we learn that you can't rush the natural. You can't rush the mystical. You have to take things step by step. If you become impatient, you've already lost, because that is not the order of things. And so if one day I can turn into an eagle, perhaps, but I'm not in a hurry to do that. Whatever my path may lead, we'll see when we get there.
That makes sense.
Perhaps you'll be able to turn into an eagle one day, Aldred.
Good way. Can you do that?
Do you really think so?
Is it something you would want to do? I said it takes a long time to learn, but I don't see why you couldn't start trying to learn.
I'd like to turn into a bear. Or
So
something
I'd
like
say
that.
you're well on your way, Aldred.
I'm bigger than most bears. You're right. But
It's a good effort.
that's what I aspire to be. So
What about you, Zora? What would you turn into if you could?
A human.
what?
Just kidding.
Why?
I like being a
Oh.
lizard.
Yeah, he got us all going there.
I mean, maybe a chameleon? That would be really cool. I can turn colors, kind of, but it'd be cool to just be like, pink. But no. This is fine. What? What? Was that maybe not pink? Purple?
No. I didn't. There. You said turn into a human, and I know you were joking. It's nothing. It's nothing. And he picks up. He's had this little fire stick with there's like this pointed, this little worn down, pointed, burnt end, and he like is poking the fire just a little bit and stokes it up some.
Now, Rin, you know there's nothing to be ashamed of. We don't get to choose how we're born.
Oh, I'm not referring to that at all, and in fact, no.
What are you referring to?
He seems
There's something
he'd like-
clearly on your mind.
He leans forward into the fire a little bit and pokes it a little bit more.
Okay. It seems to be a sensitive subject. I would. Your shoes are a little close. Maybe a step back from there.
They're fine.
Oh, okay.
He gets lost in the soft glow of the fire, now getting a little bit brighter as he creates new airways within it.
Frenell walks over with another mug of tea and hands it to Ren and says, Ren, like I was just saying, things take time. We're here when you're ready to speak.
He doesn't immediately take the tea, and instead he looks at Frenell with a little bit of familiarity, like looking for something within Frenell's face. And then he reaches out after a quick little like snap back to reality and takes the tea. Gives it a pause, thinks for a moment, straightens up, puts the tea down, goes, grabs a rock, sets it up almost like a backrest behind him, sets it, sits back. Her name is Orion.
Oh.
And Orion was very special. She was not human. And she wanted to become human. And everyone in the village, where I come from, the one that's down there a little bit, they wanted to, he's eating some of the stew that got cooked up. They didn't believe in sharing each other outside of the village. And she worked hard. She worked very hard to be accepted. And they didn't accept her. He has the stick in hand, and he's like absentmindedly like rubbing the stick and trying to fix wherever like chipping off little pieces of bark that are still on it. All she wanted was to be accepted, and she was by me, of course, but yeah. Yeah, sometimes humans are evil, Zora. I mean, anyone can be, but sometimes. And he kind of like picks the stick back up and kind of stabs the fire a little bit more. And
Thessalia, give me a perception check with fortune. Keep highest.
And
Considering you would get this, as he stabs the fire and a little bit of like some embers come flying up, you can see a look on his face that's... He's dealt with fire before.
they killed
I
her.
knew a lot of humans back in Koltrek, and Rin, you're a damn decent one. They range, you know. They're not all the same.
He stabs the fire again.
They killed her, didn't they, Red?
He stabs it one last time, and the stick just snaps.
A damn decent one.
And you burned the town down in revenge.
They were not nice people.
No, they got what was coming to them. I'm not admonishing you.
I am
Anyway.
all too familiar with wicked men. I still would like to be a human sometimes, to blend in a little
You don't
more.
want that. I understand that you want to blend in. Understand that would make it easy, and I don't want to take that from you. But I assure you, the people of Sishra's Kill are a hell of a lot better than those that lived in that village.
Okay. Okay.
Can you give me a perception check? Or actually, give me a recall knowledge of society.
Oh, am I rolling society or a recall knowledge action?
It's a recall knowledge action, and it should ask you which
Oh.
one you want to roll.
Thank you. 19.
Not only is this the first time you've ever heard him mention Sishra's Kill, he said it with authority.
I responded with authority.
Okay. More of an FYI to you.
Cool. I think, yeah, go ahead.
With the stick broken, I need a new poker. He gets up and abruptly leaves.
I remember my time back as a young assistant. Back in the lab, those were good times. There would be a party almost every night. We'd show off our new inventions or discoveries. I was too young to discover anything substantial, you know, a titration method here, a new type of flask that I thought might be more efficient, but it was always a celebration, and it was almost like a city within a city, you know. Koltrek, so vast, and you know, the little gnomish quarter with its university. They didn't know how many of us there were there. There were a lot more than showed up on the survey, I'll tell you that. And when the sickness came, my master, who I was studying with, he started just making healing potions. No more of the inventions, no more of the parties, and I don't think they know how many of us died. How many of us were lost
Alvin.
to that.
Alvin,
What?
Wait. Does anyone hear that?
The crickets.
Is it actually crickets?
It is crickets, campfire,
Okay.
and a shoreline.
It's not
Yep.
sounding like crickets to me. It just sounded like a hiss. Like
Oh
like
no, no.
Okay, I was just like making sure. Okay. I wonder why
what
that
is it?
is. It sounding like crickets in my ears. Okay, continue. Sorry. I thought
Oh, no,
Steve
that-
was like
that
being
was it.
vampire-y again to us.
That was the whole story, actually.
I'm sorry for your loss, my friend.
Thanks. I left, took some odd jobs. I still had my formula book, but sort of halted my education dead in its tracks. And I mean, in this part of the world, I'm a skilled alchemist, but by Cultrek standards, I had a long way to go. And,
I disagree with you, Alvin. Your education
about
did
being a
not.
skilled alchemist.
No,
That's-
no, no.
oh.
You're very skilled. Trust me.
Compared to this part of the world.
Your education did not stop when you left.
I sure hope not.
You learn more out here in the world by doing.
I just
On the
wish I
boat.
knew what to do with it.
You help others, like you have been. You're
Yeah.
doing good. Except when you
Yeah.
break store windows, but work
Yeah.
in progress.
Still impressive.
Oh yeah.
You know, why did you become an alchemist? Why'd you decide to go that route? If you're looking for what to do now, what was it that drew you to it to begin with?
Damned, I don't think I've ever really thought about it. I guess it was just, good with numbers, good with figures, scaling things up, mixing the chemicals, the explosions. That's a good, that's always nice. But, the healing potions, the elixirs, the mutagens even. It's incredibly useful stuff. And you ever been in a situation where I don't know, I sometimes have this dream where I'm on a mountain, right, and I start slipping, I start falling, and I think, oh, if I had a rope, or if I had a pick, or if I had no, I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
It's okay. It sounds like you wanted to feel useful. I want you to know that not only have, I've only known you a couple, but not only have you've been incredibly useful to the party, and as, potentially a friend as we become to know one another even more, you've been incredibly helpful as well. So not only useful, but incredibly kind and helpful. If we forget the alchemist at the previous town, I don't think she would necessarily agree, but it sounds like you wanted to belong. I may be wrong.
For now, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If you were an eagle, would you fly away?
From here? Right now? No, I don't think so.
I like that.
Familiar figure, starts making its way back to the campfire. And sits down. It's gotten a little bit cooler, so his hood is up.
This,
How are you?
No real response.
Hey, Rin, you never said which animal you would want to be.
folded hands in front of him. Odd shadows dancing on him. Nothing. No response. I said when you talk, he kind of acknowledges you and kind of turns his head in that direction, but...
Wait, is he still wearing Rin's clothing? Mm-hmm. Alvin quickly jumps up and says, "The river spirits got him."
No, Alvin, I don't think that's what's got him.
Oh, jeez. Sorry.
Something.
And the stranger's face from across the fire lifts. Hollowed out face. Torn cheekbone, skin that has seen maybe centuries in the river, but never once sloughed off. A swollen neck, purple with discoloration, looks up.
I flow not, yet I'm never still. I'm seen day and night. I can reflect, but never think. In darkness I lose my light.
Don't move, says Rin, about 15 feet away from the fire, looking at it. The boat. Look past him at the boat. You see the boat is hovering above the beach, and then as your eyes become adjusted to the scene, you can see 1,000 hands rising up out of the water, holding it there. We're gonna have to answer this.
Is this like we shouldn't answer it until we know for sure, like the speak with dead? Because I have theories.
I believe that is the case. Anybody here with an occult lore or occultism or any kind of lore related to that? I'll also give a recall knowledge. Actually, it's a recall knowledge, not a lore. It's a recall knowledge, occultism, or nature.
Was the action correct?
Yes.
Where
We got a
is
natural
recall knowledge?
20 on occultism.
Oh,
18.
You can roll. Yep. If you have any bonuses to recall knowledge, then
Okay.
you may want to use
23.
that instead.
Recall knowledge, nature.
Aldred, you know for a fact, and actually, let's say I believe all of you have. Yeah, all of you have. These are souls that the river has claimed. You've heard of these things. You've never encountered them, but you have heard of them. And the one thing out of all of life that they miss more than anything is life itself and what that brings. Laughter, stories, shanties to some. You're on a river, though, so it might be something a little bit more or a little bit less. Not a sea, not an ocean. They don't need to coil ropes or pull things in or hoist the sails with a shanty.
This is a riddle. Who remembers it?
I do.
I do.
Say it again.
The figure
I-
looks to whoever it is that is speaking.
I flow not, yet I'm never still. I have seen day and night. I can reflect, but never think. In darkness, I lose my light.
Well, everything loses its light in darkness. That's just dumb.
He points up at the two moons. He points at the fire. Not everything, Alvin. You're going to have to think outside the box for once in your life. Don't answer this one. Unless you know what it is. Hell hydrate.
Oh, shit.
No.
I'll be right back.
Is the water safe right now?
That would be a great time for a hype train.
We boiled it. We boiled it. Zora, say it again. You have a good memory.
I flow not, yet I am never still. I have seen day and night. I can reflect, but never think. In darkness, I lose my light.
Does it seem like we would be able to communicate at all to sort of like come up with an answer?
How would you...
I potentially like write it on the ground so the figure doesn't see on the other side of the fire.
How would you be
answer.
How would you be able to is that an in character question? How would you be able to prophesize that to be able to know whether or not that's
Sure. I've read a lot of books, I don't know. Hey guys, Ren, you have more experience with these creatures.
I have no experience with these creatures. This isn't something that I have encountered. It's something I've only heard of. Aldred, roll perception. Aldred. Precision. Oh, okay. What'd you get?
Me?
Yeah, Aldred, roll perception.
Oh, I thought you said Alvin. I'm sorry.
No, Aldred.
That's 23.
You see the boat is being lifted higher and higher. They may end up dropping this thing. Smashing
this out.
I'm gonna start writing my guesses with my hook in the ground. Time? Question mark.
I put a check mark beside it to indicate that's what I thought.
I write down reflecting pool question mark.
Sorry. Zora, can you repeat it one more time, please?
Yes.
I write down looking glass.
I flow not, yet I'm never still. I have seen day and night. I can reflect, but never think. In darkness, I lose my light.
I write down Alvin question mark.
You're diluting all of the answers. They will destroy our boat.
Well,
We have to choose one.
This one's good and this one's good. And I point to time and like a reflecting pool. That was a good one too.
Aldred, they've lifted it. It's like now 20 feet in the air. All you see are disembodied, ghostly, like spectral hands lifting up the entire thing, and you hear creaking.
Yeah, we need to hurry. Look, I couldn't figure out the graham cracker thing. Like, y'all are smart. Come on.
Okay.
Alvin writes down Mercury question mark.
There's a check mark next to this one. I think we'll do this one. Who wants to say it?
Points to time.
Okay. Time.
Alvin begins. Wait.
No, it's
No,
a time.
never mind.
Time. It's time.
Are you sure about that before you answer it? Because we don't get the second shot. And think about the nature of these things. What would they know about that?
Why does time's light go
They would
out in
know
the dark?
about.
That's,
Yes,
The lake.
yes. How does time lose its light in darkness?
You can tell time when it's completely dark.
Based on what?
Close your eyes.
Dial.
Sundial?
Can you tell time passing?
No, I can't. But what does light at this time? I don't know.
In darkness, there is no light.
And light could be a metaphor for life.
But it says I am seen by day and night. Right, Zora? What does it say?
I have seen day and night. I have seen day and night.
No. I think it said I'm seen day and night.
What about?
Oh,
Can I write down an answer?
Yeah.
Sunlight is what I write down.
Oh, that's good.
How is sunlight seen? How is sunlight seen at night?
The moon.
How does it reflect?
Say the riddle one more time.
I flow not, yet I am never still. I'm seen day and night. I can reflect, but never think. In darkness, I lose my light.
I flow not. Time flows. Time moves.
What was the second one?
I'm never still.
It doesn't flow like a river, like water.
You think it's a river?
No, rivers flow.
Rivers flow.
Oh, that's true. True. Yes, of course. I flow not by the. What is it? I'm never still.
So a reflecting pool would be that, but a reflecting pool you can still see in the darkness.
30 feet
The
in the
reflecting
air.
pool is known for its stillness. Oh God, we're gonna die here.
Once that boat is gone, who knows if they are coming after us?
You see, he now has his hand on on the handle of his blade.
I flow not yet, I'm never still. I'm seen day and night. I can reflect, but never think. In darkness, I lose my light. Is that correct?
No,
Yes.
it can't be an echo. And he's writing
Could
it
it
down,
be-
obviously.
Could it be the moon itself?
I am seen day and night. I can reflect, but never think. In darkness. Yeah, but it is dark, and in darkness, it doesn't lose its light.
He looks at the answers down on the ground. What are they?
Time, a reflecting pool, Alvin, Mercury, and something else. Sundial, the moon.
It's not Alvin. It is. I don't even know what Mercury is. What? Not a
It's
sundial.
very reflective.
You think it's reflective pool?
No. Mercury it's perfectly reflective.
No. I'm talking about the other thing that you wrote down.
Oh,
I don't think it's the reflective pool
think it's a
because in the
reflective pool.
darkness you could still see it.
But in darkness, it loses its light, and yet is seen by day and night.
Well,
It makes the most sense, honestly. If not time, reflecting pool, I think,
okay.
is the right answer.
I'm fine with that.
I mean,
Is
it's
it-
always seeing day and night. It's open to the air.
Is it reflecting pool? I say to the spirit.
Are we all in agreement?
Yeah,
Yes.
What? But it's not. It's never still.
Alvin, do you agree or not?
Oh, jeez. I can't think of anything better.
What is your answer?
50 feet in the air.
I
Damn it.
close my eyes tight and I say reflecting pool.
Aldred, you look back. There's no hands. The boat sits quietly on the shore.
Reflecting pool. That was. What even is that?
It's a pool that reflects. It's an architectural thing. You
Rin looks.
Like
you build a.
Rin looks
Never
at the
mind.
river.
Look at the surface of the river.
Yep.
It's reflecting everything. The reflection doesn't flow. It is seen. It always reflects day and night. And he's looking at the campfire, the figure that used to be there. None of you ever saw it disappear, but all you know is it's not there now.
Now, did it leave any children's clothes behind?
Alvin gets up, begins looking around, doesn't see anything.
Damn it.
hate riddles.
I'm not
Oh,
a fan
jeez,
myself.
you and me both, Tess. Waste of time.
Let's say we go to sleep and try to forget this damn thing.
I agree. I'm going to go sleep on the boat, despite what just happened.
You know, I don't think that's a great idea, Tess, as much as you love water. Those things came from the water.
I am also going to sleep on the boat. That sounds nice.
I guess I'll sleep on the boat too, then.
You don't. There's not room for all.
There's
of
a
us to
hand
sleep
that
on the
goes
boat.
out to Alvin and holds Alvin back if you allow it.
Oh. Well, I'll sleep here. That's fine. I set up my bed already.
I need you to cut it up with.
To cut the what?
Nothing.
Cuddle.
Nothing. Come on, let's go to sleep. He begins closing his eyes and starts thinking various thoughts. The always moves but never flow.
Hey, Rin.
It's always moving. The reflection's always moving, but it never flows with the river. No, yeah, of course.
Rin, you're in the story that you told.
What do you mean?
Well, you told the story and now you're in the story. Kinda.
Shh. Go to sleep.
Okay.
With the howl of a wolf in the distance, the sounds of the forest and the slowly dying campfire begin to overtake various thoughts and memories of the day. Some of you reflect on the past, several weeks. Others reflect, particularly Rin, on just the past, 10 minutes. And yet, closer to the river and in the boat, Thessalia and Aldred are out cold, finally finding home again. When we wake up in the morning, that is where we will pick up next week.
Yay. We did it, gang.
So
You survived.
I survived Alvin.
Survived a riddle.
So, all right. So I have to ask you guys now. I decided with the positive feedback from the downtime within the village. I wanted to give you guys the feeling of traveling overland and turning that into what is ordinarily just like a downtime activity or an exploration activity. Of course, you can do certain things during that time, but does it help to break it down into these little pocket scenes and things like that to provide lore, or do you prefer a quick overland travel, get to a destination, or how does that work for you?
I liked the lore building.
Yeah.
I
Me
enjoy
too.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we
Alright,
got
yeah.
to know more about, in this session, Alvin, especially. And some of Ren.
Yeah, I love the character building on this. You guys are just absolutely killing it. So with that, then I'm going to go around the table quick and prove to everyone how you learned or how you earned your experience. So what did your character learn about themselves, and what did they learn about, or what did they learn in general, and then what did they learn about? Now we already did the what we learned about someone else. Fuck it. What did you learn?
I learned that Rin might not like her so much. Maybe. I don't know.
Scheisse.
Zora's very confused. I think Zora's like, why does he think he knows so much more about my family than I know? And
That's a little bit of
why
privilege
does
he's trying to claim there.
Yeah, and why doesn't he accept that, her experience, that she does want to be a human? Why does that bother him so much to, completely be like, no, you don't? And she's like, okay, I guess I don't. Bye. So I think that's what she learned. She learned that her boss is a little bit emotionally unavailable.
And then he drops a lore bomb and is like, my name used to be Darian, and I have been through Cishra's Kill.
Oh, If he's
that's
Darian,
not ever. No.
unsubscribe. Darian's
Who do you want to pass it to?
who's next to me? I'll pass it to Dan.
That's me. On the Rin train, Tess learned that he's got a dark and scary past, and he's done some decidedly, objectively not good things for what she thinks is a very good reason. Yeah, she holds like crew and family to like high degree, and you cross that, you cross everyone, and they will fuck you up.
I'm amazed that you. I mean, you nailed that story. You got it exactly where it needed to be.
I had a feeling like from the beginning when he was like, "No, you don't want to be human." I was like, "Oh, there's some tea there." He's got personal experience with that.
I was on the edge of my seat for that exchange.
Who do you want to pass it? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'd be curious to see how Zora and Tess bond over that as the non-human humanoids.
Yeah, the non-fleshy humanoids.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I'm just gonna pass it to Stormy.
So I also was really invested in whatever was going on. I was hoping that the thing between Zora and Rin would be expounded on a little bit, but it didn't. But maybe next time. Aldred has an interest in where Rin was going with that as well, for my own reasons and for my own lore reasons. I'll keep that to myself for now. But yeah, no, I'm along the same page as everyone else right now, honestly. And I'll pass it to Frenell.
So, Frenell's... A lot happened this week in this session. So, Frenell is sort of thinking... she feels a little awkward after the Zora Rin encounter, but is kind of glad that it didn't continue at that point. That alongside with like how the party has been over the last couple of weeks, Frenell's getting just really concerned about what she perceives as sort of like disrespect for nature. It's always swords first with these people. And that concerns her. She's not a pacifist by any means. I think she's shown that. But there better be a damn good reason. And sometimes we're very convinced that our reasoning is a good one, but it's not always the best. So she's not really suspicious. She's not really frustrated, but there are little like yellow, red flags going off that she wants to keep an eye on. She has concerns. And I'll pass it to Alvin. Alvin
learned that it's really dangerous to close doors. Alvin learned that the past has a substantial hold on all of us, and that we ignore it at our own peril. He's been emboldened by solving a riddle, substantially, especially because he hates them, and is hoping to confront the past more directly with his actions, perhaps a little more bravely, and a little less running, a little more facing in the future.
Have a great night, everyone, and remember, love each other and show each other kindness. Stay adorable. We'll see you guys later.
Drink some tea.
Drink tea!